What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Black Buckeye Podcast. I am your host, Chris, and today I definitely got to hit y'all with the top five Ohio State receivers of all time. And spring ball here, baby. Buckeyes back on the field. I'm going to tell y'all what that means. You know what I'm saying? You seeing all the reporters talking about it. We're going to get into it. So, everybody knows by now that spring ball started out today. Everybody is out at the Woody. They're practicing, they're doing drills. And for the most part, that's about all they're doing. Ryan Day's press conference and Chip Kelly did his press conference today. Um, they pretty much went over, hey, this is going to be a collaborative effort. Ryan Day was just going over how much he trusts Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator and what he can and can't do as the offensive coordinator, basically. And that's pretty much nothing. He's going to coach. Chip Kelly's going to coach the quarterbacks. He talked a little bit about, hey, my wife noticed that when we lost one of our coaches at UCLA, that I was the happiest I've been in a long time because I got to go back to coaching ball. That's what I like to do. That's what I love to do. I'm about coaching football. I don't want to be you know, bogged down by all this other shit that I got to do as far as being the head coach is concerned. And that's okay. And but he also pushed back on I don't want to be a head coach no more. That's not why I made this move. It was a whole lot of other moves, a whole lot of other reasons, excuse me, why he decided to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Um, I respect that. I respect that, and I respect that man's privacy to not reveal why he decided he wanted to go ahead and be the offensive coordinator instead of the head coach. He also said there was a couple coaches that called him and said, "Hey, brother, I'm not too far behind you. I'm about a year or two away from joining you and being somebody's offensive coordinator." So that's obviously somebody he knows, and I'm sure he put that bug in Ryan Day's ear because he like, look, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna do this. Like I said it last week, not too sure how long Chip Kelly is going to be the offensive corner of the Ohio State University, and it's understood, man. He's coming from being a head coach, and he's getting older. But I'm sure he loves doing what he's doing, and at this point, I think he's valuing what he has to do in the you know, less responsibility of being the offensive coordinator instead of being the head coach and having to be a CEO of a program. And that was refreshing to the players. Um, Sonny Styles is at linebacker right now. Great to see. They say he's probably one of the biggest linebackers out there right now. They say he's about 235, 240 almost, which is great to see. I hope he adjusts to the linebacker position. I think that's going to be great. Ryan Day says he wants to make this time, which I didn't see anybody in the beat talk about this. He wants to pretty much make the spring be the time for development for all the players. And I think that's the right move. This is a time for the players to develop in their position, not really working on the scheme, not really working on things that you have to do as far as the football team is concerned, but want to really truly focus on the individual football players on the team and developing them to be the best player that they can be. Then integrate them into the system because now we know what you can and can't do this coming season, how fast you're running, how fast you're reading the plays, how quick you're getting the ball out if you're playing quarterback, how fast you're reading the play if you're playing linebacker. Big time for like Sonny Styles or all the linebackers, period, point blank. So I think that that's the right move as well, as far as focusing on development of the actual football player first, and then we can get to my system and how I want you to play. And I think that's key. And a lot of people are missing those points when he was giving you the gems. I'm telling you what we trying to do. He also said, I think Tim May asked him, like, are you basically pinching yourself when you're walking around the practice field and seeing how, the returning players and the players that you got coming in. You got Caleb Downs that came in and all these other great players that came in here to be a part of this program. And Ryan Day pretty much said, "Yeah, I mean, I did that already. Now it's pretty much about business." I loved everything that I heard from Ryan Day so far. First day of spring practice. Um, it I'm just excited. I'm just excited, just like every other Buckeye fan. But I do want to make it this point. It's first day of spring practice. Really, none of this shit matters. So if you say, oh, we seen this person trot out there for the first team, that shit don't matter. None of that shit really matters, man. Don't let them hype you up and tell you that, oh, well, this guy is now going to be the starting right tackle, blah, blah, blah. That shit don't matter. They're just trying to sell you something so that you can go click on a website. What it really is just the first day of spring practice. They worked on drills, bro. They worked on drills. They did out patterns, flies, working on your accuracy, throwing the football in the net, like all those stuff. I went and I seen all that stuff because I'm a Buckeye fan. I'm a nut. I'm a crazy dude. You know what I'm saying? I understand, but don't let nobody hype your ass up to thinking that, oh, well, this is how it's gonna be, or this person is the starting quarterback. They're a long way from that. It's a long fucking way until we get to starting lineups and things of that nature. Right now, they're just trying to develop the players and see what they work ethic like. See if you about this life, especially for like young players like Aaron Nolan and a lot of the true freshmen that are out there. We got to see how you're adjusting to college football life and being away from home for the first time. You got to understand that these are 18-year-old young men. And I see a lot of people online talk about, what do you think about Aaron Nolan's mentality? Bro, he 18 years old. Get that man time to grow. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not as mature as other 18-year-olds. Some of them are business like, some of them just want to have fun and enjoy the college football life and the college life. And we all know if you went to college and you gave it the old college try and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know what that's about. It's about, hey, I'm trying this shit. I'm seeing what this is about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning on the fly. Everybody ain't gonna be a pro right out the gate, bro. Y'all need to calm that shit down. Chill the fuck out. We just starting this thing. He just starting his career. Chill the fuck out. Let that young man develop into who he gonna be. He'll get there eventually, hopefully, that he learns and matures more and more. Because I'm sure people heard the rumors about him being late and all that other bullshit. But me personally, I kind of expect that type of stuff from kids that's like 18, 19 years old. This is the first time them being away from home and actually being on their own. So they're learning how to be men. You know what I'm saying? He's learning how to be a professional. Being around other professionals, you're going to start acting as they do. If they don't, he going to find his way up out of there, bro. He'll find his way up out of there. And he know that. But get as a fan, like everybody else, chill the fuck out. Let these young men develop and learn and learn from their mistakes. Stop acting like everybody got to be perfect when they come here, bro. I understand there's the standard is the standard, and we gonna keep that bitch where it's at. Okay. And Aaron Nola better understand that because you at that type of university, cuz so understand it. Feel that shit. But chill the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Chill out. Let these young men grow and be young men and learn from their mistakes. Now, um, with that out the way, spring ball's great. It's a great thing. But I had an argument not too long ago with my brother. I was agreeing with him at first. We had an argument about who's the greatest receiver in Ohio State history. And me being me, I got to do my research, bro. I got to go in and I have a wealth of knowledge. I'm a lifetime Buckeye fan. So I've seen a lot of receivers from Santonio Holmes to Ted Ginn Jr., Anthony Gonzalez. You name them, I pretty much saw them. If I've from basically 1995 on, I seen them. I seen them. That's when I really started to really truly dive in and understand football. Hey, I was born in 1985, about 10 years old. I started playing football when I was about 10 years old, organized. But I started to understand it. And now, hey, I gotta give y'all my top five. This is my top five. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. This is my top five, period, point blank, of the top five receivers of Ohio State history of all time. All right. So we're gonna start this thing off right at number five. So number five that I have in the history of Ohio State football, I have Chris Olave. Chris Olave, he caught 176 balls, 2,700 yards receiving. He averaged about 15 yards a catch. He got 35 touchdowns. Also, he played special teams, got blocked. The way he contributed as not just a receiver is big time, man. It's big time. The thing about Chris, I couldn't put him higher on this list because one, he never had 1,000-yard receiving season, but that's why he's not higher on this list. And two, all of those stats were contributed, was compiled in 4 years, and everybody else on my list only played 3, and their stats are better for the most part. For the most part. For the most part. Number 4, I have Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson caught 143 balls over 3 years. He had 2,200 yards receiving and caught 23 touchdowns. Now, I know Garrett Wilson is a lot of people's greatest receivers of all time. Mine, mainly my man Chris from Menace to Sports. I understand you, Chris, but fact is, he's not the greatest receiver of all time. We can fight about it any other time, anytime you want to talk about it on the socials or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll find you on there and we can talk about it, but he ain't the greatest receiver in Ohio State history. Now, as far as talent, oh yeah, he one of them. And I put him in my top 5. So, but if you want to argue, you want to fight about it, square up, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's just not my greatest receiver of all time. I got him at number 4. Number 3. Now, understand some people got this guy as the greatest receiver of all time at Ohio State history. I don't, but you in my top 5, boy. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. Listen, man, as far as talent, as far as the will to win, putting your team on your back, doing whatever you had to do to win. You didn't get everything done, but my man, it was a pleasure to watch you play football. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. caught 155 balls in his entire career. He caught 2,600 yards receiving. He had 2,600 yards receiving. He averaged about 16 yards a catch. He had 31 touchdowns. He did that in 3 years, y'all. Everybody left on my list only really played 3 years in college. All right. I think he's one of the best players to ever come out of Ohio State as far as the receiving position. I cannot lie. He may be one of the most gifted receivers. I was looking forward to see him run the 40 in the combine, but he decided not to, and I would have thought that would have did a little bit something for me. Like I could have said he's probably the most talented. He would have ran like a 4.4 or 4.3, but hopefully he does it at some point, but I doubt it. But yeah, his production you can't argue with, man. He had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Last year he had to deal with Kyle McCord, underthrowing balls, overthrowing balls, not accurate balls, some accurate balls. And he still had 1,000 yards receiving, man. Sometimes I think like, damn, what if CJ had came back for that last year? But it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. He was out here, man. He had a family to take care of. All right, number 2. Got him. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. These were the 2 hardest. I was going back and forth, but one of them I got to see up close and personal on my TV. And the other one, I didn't really get to see him play when he was at Ohio State because, I was like 1 or 2 years old. So I ended up going with this side to go with a lot of people, for a long time, for a little bit there, had him as the second greatest receiver of all time in NFL history, until we got the new wave of receivers. It's Cris Carter, man. Cris Carter. Now, if you're looking up the stats, and everybody else that I said on this list, their stats actually included their bowl games. The last 2 guys, the stats did not include their bowl games. So I went back and did the best that I could to try to find most of their yardage and most of their receiving yards. So the best I could do, I found Cris Carter has, when you look it up, it's going to say that he has 150 receptions. He has a little bit more than that because you've got to factor in his bowl games. and it's going to say he has 2,421 yards receiving. He has, if you add in his bowl games, which everybody else's bowl games is added on here, he has the second most yardage in Ohio State history. Now, I wanted to put this in perspective for everybody. When he was playing, Ohio State was a running football team. He caught 2,700 yards in a pretty much run predominantly offense. And in an era where they could actually hit you. The middle of the field is just not wide open to you, and you just get to run up in there, catch the ball, and run with the ball. No, back then, head hunting. You come over this middle, I'm gonna let your ass have it. And he was getting his work, 2,700 yards worth, bro. Like, hands down, bro. One of the GOATs, man. He one of the best. I got him as my second greatest receiver all time. Oh my God, I miss Cris Carter on TV. Man, I hope somebody gives him another shot, man, because I miss Cris Carter on TV. He used to have some of the best takes. I learned so much football when I was watching him on TV all those years. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. But man, Chris, don't hate me, man. I got you as number two. But my number one, though, I saw him up close. For the first one and only time I've ever seen an announcer say about a young man that he went out of the game. Ohio State did not get the first down. It was like I want to say it was like a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. He comes back in the game for the third down. And my man Keith Jackson was announcing the game, the GOAT. And he says, well, here he comes back onto the field. We all know who's getting the ball. Came back in, routed the corner up, got the first down, ran back off the field. Ohio State ran out the clock, ended the game. That young man was David Boston. Listen, y'all. Listen. Y'all can say whatever the fuck y'all want to say about his NFL career. And yes, I feel like he did a lot of self-sabotaging with that. And, people live and they learn. And I hope he is doing just fine right now in his life. But for me and my money, the greatest receiver I ever seen come across my TV screen. Let me say it again. The greatest receiver that I have ever seen line up in scarlet and gray is the David Boston. Yes, I'm talking about the man who gave Charles Woodson them hands. David Boston is the greatest receiver Ohio State has ever had. And I would debate anybody. I would debate anybody on this. He's the greatest receiver. He doesn't have his bowl games added into his statistics either. So if he did, David Boston is the all-time leading receiver in Ohio State history at 2,855 yards receiving. He'll be also, I think he'll be number 2 behind Chris Olave, who is the all-time leading touchdown receptions in Ohio State history at 35. He'll be number 2 with 34 touchdowns ever in Ohio State history. He also averaged around, 15.5 yards per catch. And he also has 2 punt returns. I'm going to say it again. He also has 2 punt returns for touchdowns. He was strong, fast, could run routes. He had everything, man. He had everything. And if you go back, for the youngsters, if you don't know who David Boston is, go back and please watch his highlights. Watch how they play football first. Because it's a different game. It's a different game that Cris Carter and David Boston were playing as opposed to the game that Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. get to play today. But this dude right here, this boy David Boston, nobody touching him, man. Nobody's touching him. Now, the guy that I was arguing with my brother about was Joey Galloway, and at the time, I'm like, man, I understand. We've had so many great receivers at Ohio State. You know, you got Joey Galloway. You know, you got Michael Thomas. You have Emeka Egbuka. You have D. Miller. People don't talk about it. KJ Hill. Michael Jenkins. Michael Jenkins was that dude, and he's a national champion. So I understand all those guys for me are honorable mention. This is my top five. I understand if other people's top five is different, but don't come at me with anybody other than the name David Boston as the number one receiver in Ohio State history, because he was that dude. He was that dude. When he walked on the field, he was so good. When the announcer said, "This young man coming back on the field, we know he getting the ball. He route the dude up, get the ball, walk back off the field. The game is over, bro. The game is over." He was that dude, bro. Nobody else on this list can do that. Knowing that you getting the ball, knowing that that's who they're going to. They're going to you. And you still do what you need to do. Still get the first down and just jog right back off. Why? Because I'm the man. You know, he got the winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl. Played in 2 Sugar Bowls. I think that last year that he was at Ohio State, I think he said he was hurt pretty much the entire year and still did his thing, bro. Still did his thing. I'm sorry. I understand if people say Marvin Harrison Jr., the greatest of all time at Ohio State. I beg to differ. It is David Boston. And for me, in my money, the only person close will be Cris Carter, the Hall of Famer. And I felt like David Boston was on a Hall of Fame track if he had just, kept his life together, man. You know, and it was sad to see how his career ended up. But man, you were so talented, you didn't have to do what you did. But man, this dude here, David Boston, listen, I turn up for David Boston. Anytime, anywhere. Listen, he was that nigga, bro. Period. And if anybody else want to debate me on that, you can debate me. But let's go back. Let's go watch his tape. Let's see who can fuck with him in the route running. I think Garrett Wilson can, but is he a better, is he a better receiver? Nah, I say they're comparable. That's why Garrett Wilson is in my top 5. He ain't better than this dude, man. He ain't better than this dude. And he didn't have CJ Stroud throwing him the ball. He had Joe Germaine. So Joe Germaine was all right, but he ain't no damn CJ Stroud. Let's keep it 100. Okay. And so that's my top 5. Like I said, if you want to fight about it, square up, nigga. I'm in these streets. Come see about me. Come see about me. I'm on everything you want. I'm on everything you want. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on it all. See your boy. Come see your boy. If you got a problem with it, let me know about it. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. It's the Black Buckeye. Buckeye till I die. OHIO. I'll holla at y'all next week. Deuce.